is what I thought I'd start doing is start a diary.
Okay, why?
Just 'cause I sort of had a bit of time on my hands and that. Just thought, write it down, write stuff down.
And do you hope that this one day will become one of the great literary documents like Samuel Pepys' diary?
I haven't heard of that. Is it any good?
You've never heard of Samuel Pepys' diary?
No,
the most famous diary other than probably Anne Frank's.
I've heard of Anne Frank's and that, and I thought if she's sat in a loft, knocking stuff up, not much going on in her life at that point, yet she was still writing it down.
Yeah, whereas
Thought,
you've
I'm
been
on
to Gran
holiday.
Canaria, yeah.
I thought, so there is stuff going on that I can chat about. Start a diary.
Sure.
You started a diary?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Did you keep it up every day?
Yeah, just...
oh, can I read it, please?
Well, a diary is meant to be sort of...
Please, can I read some out on this podcast? Carl.
Some of it, though, is only relevant to me. It's sort of...
Oh, this is... Please, give me it. Oh, my God.
I mean, this isn't... I haven't just...
Look how big it is!
It's one of those desk diaries.
It's huge. It's about a foot long, and it's oh, that is amazing. Imagine if Anne Frank's had been like that. As she got out, right, everyone would have heard it clang down on the desk.
Yeah, but my writing's quite big, isn't it?
Oh, look, give us that.
Do you know about joined up writing? Have you heard about
is
that?
There's no point.
Amazing.
Sometimes you can't read it, can you? So it's
Right,
best
okay.
to look at
look,
times.
oh my God, it starts on the first day. This is wonderful. Going on holiday to Gran Canaria today. Woke up to the news that Tony Banks had died. There was a piece on the news about how everyone was shocked. Got me thinking about an invention that would be good. Right, a watch that counted down your life. If it says you've got 3 days left, go to the doctors. Told Suzanne about invention. She said she wouldn't buy one. But she said that about the iPod.
How would this device work, this watch? I mean, how would you know when you were about to die? Is that a concern? Again, not for you to worry about, presumably the boffins and the
No, all I was thinking is that Tony Banks fella, he died and everyone was shocked about it. But if you had like a little watch on...
But how does it work? You can't just say, wouldn't it be good? How would this work? Yeah, I imagine you're in the patent office going, got an idea. They go, oh, certainly, Mr. Pilkington, what's your idea? Watch that counting down your life. Oh, how does that work?
Just wear it, just pop it on your wrist.
No, what do you mean, just pop it on your wrist? How does it work? Just pop it on your wrist. Brilliant. You're an idiot.
Well, it's interesting that he goes on. The flight to Gran Canaria was a bit bumpy. I thought about the clock that counts down your life again, and I wondered if it would know if you were going to die in a disaster. Now, he's querying his own life.
He's wondering if he would know. He's invented this.
And now he's not even sure. A fella on the plane was reading Koi Mag. It was a fishing magazine. I glanced over and noticed he was reading the Pond of the Month article. Don't think they could make it into a weekly magazine. Well, to be fair to you, because I remember seeing a guy on the train once reading Carp Monthly, a magazine dedicated entirely to carp, and it had Carp of the Month. And I just thought, once you're like 3 months in, the editor must be stressing, have we got any more carp? We got a carp that's actually done anything?
I reckon if they used the same one twice, there wouldn't be many complaints.
No one would be noticing.
No, that's the carp they used 2 years ago.
There was a really fat bloke on the plane. He was playing on his PSP. While I waited to go to the toilet, I looked at what game he was playing. It was darts. He's that fat and lazy, he can't even face playing a more active game on a games console. Me and Suzanne got off the coach along with a couple of old people. One of them was in a wheelchair. I don't think it was wise of them to come to a volcanic island with a wheelchair. Everywhere's pretty rough, paving and slopey. Guess I'll keep an eye on it as the weeks go on. Day 2 in Gran Canaria.
Brilliant, we're only at day 2.
The hotel's a bit odd. I've never seen as many cross-eyed people in one location.
That's enough, isn't it?
That's amazing!
Well, you may as well let me read on a bit more.
No, this is amazing.
Well, come back to
This
it
is a
later,
brilliant diary. This might be the best diary ever written. Oh.
While I sat listening to the Kinks on my iPod, I wondered if everybody thinks in their accent. I know I do. What's this? What are you talking about?
Just that, when I've been sat there lying on the lounger, right, and I was thinking about stuff.
How do you know you think in your accent? Tell me a typical thought.
Because what I mean is, say if I was like, if I saw something, right, do you know how I say, like, oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
No, but
that was
I don't
being
have
said.
to. But when you think, I don't think the sentence is like I'm saying it. It's just a thought. The thought appears. It's conceptual and it's already there. It's not like I go, Rick, what? Just looking at that fellow over there, were you? Yeah, I was, yeah. I was thinking it looks a bit weird. Oh, so was I. I don't think out whole sentences.
Whereas you have Carl, stop listening to the Kinks for a minute. Look over there. More cross-eyed people.
No, well, that's
Is that how your mind works?
In a way, yeah. And
Brilliant.
that's when because I
That
thought
explains a lot.
It's great that he has to think about whole sentences.
because I thought that's weird, isn't it? Like I didn't think that's weird, isn't it? And I thought I actually think in my accent. And then I thought, does Stephen Hawking, does he when he's doing his maths and that? Is he? I don't know where he's from, so I don't know what his accent would be like.
I think he's from Kent or Cambridge or Oxford. Or
Right.
something.
So
So you think he might think in his
voice, in that voice box
computerised
thing.
voice?
Just wondered.
Had lunch inside today due to shite weather. Sat next to an old fella. Old men's ears and noses carry on growing as they get older. Suzanne noticed his fingers were fat too. Maybe they continue to grow. Suzanne didn't laugh when I said her arse had the same problem. Day 3, cloudy start to the day. Had pie and chips in a cafe. Had a bit of an argument with Suzanne because I thought it was daft that we were paying for food when we were on an all-inclusive holiday. Changed my mind when I saw they sold pie, though. The cafe was called Tattoos. The fellow who owned it didn't have any tattoos. But we never saw his wife.
Oh, brilliant.
Had a drink in a bar. Everyone sat and watched one of the local cats lick its bollocks.
It's the greatest holiday in the world. That's the entertainment in that town.
Went back to the hotel and had a sleep before tea. I love the fact you're moaning about old people, but you're just as bad.
You've done nothing so far.
He's done nothing, he's got me hip.
Oh, God.
Woke up to news about ducks being badly treated. There was a really ugly one with bent legs.
I'm gonna die. Why does he write this down? Oh, God. Oh.
There is a fat bloke from Bolton who was in the pool as I write this. He's got a big tattoo on his back, but I can't work out what it is. ... He just got out of the pool and burped. You just felt like you had to keep us abreast of that.
Everything's in the diary. I've just seen it get to the point where you're going, breathed in,
Yeah.
breathed out again.
There was a big fat fella in the sea who kept his t-shirt on. If you're big and fat, is there more chance of you getting burnt because there's more of you on show? I asked Suzanne and she said she didn't know in that sort of not listening kind of way. I wanted to hang about to see if the fat bloke was going to get in the kayak, but Suzanne said we had to head back. Just let him wait in to see if he's going to capsize. We go home today, so we got up early to get the last bit of cloud.
No, it's just that it wasn't. It's not that sunny all the time. I mean, I was sat in weather that if it was like that here, there's no way I'd be sat in the garden. But because you're on holiday, it's like, well, we've got to sit in it. Put your coat on.
So are you going to continue to write this diary? Every single day?
It's amazing. Keep this diary up. It's amazing.
No, I will keep it up because what I find as well is, I think earlier on before I went away, I think I did learn something, and because I wrote it down, I remembered it a bit better. So
What was that?
I just was thinking then, I forgot it now, but but I remembered looking back at it and not having to read it all because I remembered the end of it before I read it, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're
It's a regular feature now when we read from Carl's diary. Carl decided to keep a diary. He's gone through with it. I could see it there. It's massive. It's a huge desk diary that he has to carry around with him, and the pages are getting full up. You're really keeping to this.
Yeah.
Right, this is extracts from Carl's diary.
Did podcast and went for an Italian with Ricky and Steve. The Italian place is good. We've been there a few times. I always have the same thing, spaghetti. Can't remember what everyone else had. Last time we went there, Steve had little octopuses with pasta. You could see that they were octopuses. They hadn't been cut up or anything. My rule is that I only eat stuff that looks nice when it's alive. A cow, a chicken, some fish. An octopus is an odd-looking thing alive. Even worse when it's dead and limp. It looks like it just shouldn't have been sat in the spaghetti.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Ricky drew another picture of my head. We've given a few of them away as prizes, but he draws so many of them that they won't be worth as much anymore. Everyone will eventually have one. Like those pictures of a boy crying that caused houses to burn down in the 1980s.
What does that mean?
What are you talking about?
Don't you remember I mean, if you're listening in America, they might not have made it over there.
Is it the sort of like the sugary ones with kids? Like, is it Techikov or something?
It's just some kid. My Auntie Nora had one, and it was just like a kid with like a blue jumper on, and it's like a painting, not a photo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he's just crying.
Like a chocolate box. It's really awful, sort of sugary.
And what happened is they found out that a load of houses were being set on fire or burst into flames, whatever. And the weird thing was,
Oh, it's bollocks.
every house that burnt down had that photo.
Yeah, because every house had that picture in the fucking 70s and 80s. Idiot. It's like, we're linking it to sinks. Every house that's ever burned down had a sink. You're talking shit again. Carry on.
Wednesday. Saw a homeless bloke. I'm surprised that no companies have thought about sponsoring the homeless. Something like a clothing company. Give them some clothes that have an advert on the back. Everyone's a winner.
Good idea.
Not bad, is it?
Got on the tube to Camden. Read in a free newspaper that hedgehogs could be gone by 2025. I think I've seen more dead hedgehogs than alive ones anyway, so I don't think I'll miss them. Went round to Ricky's house and had a game of pool. It should have been nice and relaxing, but Jane gave me some cake, and Ricky said I can't play pool if my hands are all sticky from cake.
It was the sugar. And it wasn't that either. After he'd finished it, they weren't just sticky. He was licking his fingers, sucking his fingers off, and then was going to pick up pool cues and touch things. And I was thinking, go and wash your hands after licking your hands. You're not a cat.
This turned into an argument when I said I didn't want to wash my hands.
Why didn't he?
He goes
Disgusting.
for a piss all the time without washing his hands, and then squeezes my head. I know I prefer to have lemon cake crumbs on my head than knob juice. Was going to do a crossword, but I'm tired and have learnt enough today.
What have you learned?
Well, the stuff about hedgehogs and that.
Oh, God.
Was on my way to my mates, and I got on a train. Got close to a station, but realised I needed a wee. Was about to go in a cubicle when a blind man with a dog, who was bumbling his way through the walkway, came around. I said, "Are you after the toilet?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "It's on your right." I shouldn't have let him go first, as he took ages, and it would be my stop soon. The dog waited outside the cubicle. I was going to stroke it, but then I remembered someone telling me that you shouldn't. Don't know
Why
why that
not?
is.
Because something to do with the owner should be the only one who sort of deals with that dog, and you shouldn't.
Well, you shouldn't stroke it because you'll cover it in fucking lemon cake.
No, but just because, you know, if you stroke it and that, it might like me and want to go off with me, and he'll come out and be lost and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure, but I just thought.
Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings, as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. But Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him, as I felt that he probably had a better day than me.
Oh, God.
Suzanne called me to say she'd gone for a haircut, and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town. And that if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that
What, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket? I'm in the supermarket. All right, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly, because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later, I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us, as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style.
Brilliant.
I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head, and a close-cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, "What do you think of this cut?" I said it looked alright, as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do it so they could keep an eye on whatever you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's Dance Club, just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's Dance Club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
About 45 minutes.
And yeah, a mate sort of said, oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics and that. You're doing your body popping, right? Body popping and that. He said, you ought to come to Twiggy's. And I went there, but I didn't go in. It was shut. They were just having like loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think like they were like using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that. So I said, oh, I've come to have a dance. And like, oh, not tonight. Come back tomorrow. I never went back.
Brilliant. What a waste of an anecdote. Right. Brilliant.
Just to recap, you're convinced then that the teachers are asking you to keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary, as there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday, as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean, like, say if, you know, they run out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, look, do you mind if we make a programme on you? And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker. Right,
No. Sorry. People with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
All right, then. Some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been playing Operation?
What I mean is the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It's the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires coming out
Look
of it.
what we can do with science.
And he's going,
Goodbye.
I feel ill.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is
This
great.
makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington.
I don't know why that's so funny. Oh, God.
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington. I opened it, and the first sentence read, Dear Mr. K. Dilkington, you're one of our most valuable customers. I put it in the bin. Thought I would learn some new words, as Steve always says I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word whew means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing that right?
Who's using that word? Who is using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way, I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the window. It's like a child in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know.
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, they said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't going to solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, I know I'm about 'cause I dream. Doesn't work for everything, 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. Sunday, got up, Sunny day, so I went for a walk in the park. There was a bloke walking down the street who was whistling some kind of annoying tune. He seemed quite happy with himself. Do people only whistle when they're happy? I don't whistle very much.
It's a good point. Whistling is so inane to me. But yeah, it's sort of like going, I'm content, it really is that thing that if they go, you go, well, Mr. Mellors, I'm afraid, I've got some bad news. Not only has your wife died, but you've lost the house. Thanks, Doctor.
Wouldn't happen, would it?
No, you don't
right,
whistle
it?
when
Yeah.
you're sad. The other place you hear it, of course, is changing rooms. And that's men going, I'm whistling, so I'm not looking at your cock. How could I be? I'm concentrating on whistling.
The lake was frozen over where I was walking. The ducks looked worried. They were sat on the edge of the lake waiting for it to melt. Were they, Carl?
Yeah, we just sat there looking, sort of going, oh, what's going on? I don't know. How long is a duck's memory? Because I wondered whether they're going, this doesn't seem right, but I don't know why.
I asked Suzanne why ducks don't use their wings much. They seem to walk and swim more and don't bother using their wings. Suzanne said she had to call her mum and dad, so I never got an answer.
The old excuse! Suzanne, I can't talk now, Carl.
Gotta phone my mum. There was a marathon-type run going on in the park. It reminded me of the time when we were moving flat. It was the day of the London Marathon. Me and Suzanne were walking down the middle of the road, taking some stuff to our new flat. I was carrying a lamp and a kitchen bin. People were clapping me, thinking I was doing some kind of fun run.
Yeah.
Why were you walking on the same route?
Because it was when we lived on the Docklands.
Oh, brilliant.
There was no other route. The flat was just about 100 yards down the road.
They're going, look at the bloke with the bald wig. He's carrying a lamp and a bin.
Took a bag of old clothes to Oxfam. It was just old T-shirts and a couple of jumpers with holes in it. I don't think anyone will buy them. But the Oxfam is closer to the flat than the wheelie bin is. On the tube on the way back home, saw an advert for a book about a woman who works in a funeral home. She went into work one day, she goes to work on a body, she takes the sheet off of one of the bodies, and it looks exactly like her. This is called a doppelganger.
What's a doppelganger to you?
It's the thing I read about ages ago where someone was walking down the street.
Yeah, and he sees somebody who looked a bit like him.
And no, this was weirder than that.
Go on.
He remembers, like, going down that street as a kid on his bike, whistling.
Yeah.
And then he's walking down the street, going to get some milk or whatever from the shop. Little bike comes whizzing past. He hears the whistling, he goes, that's weird. Looks at it, it was him when he was a kid. So it's like a time.
Talk shit. What do you mean it was him as a kid?
This is like a different form of doppelganger. It's just
Well, it's impossible, it's rubbish.
some sort of time thing, isn't it?
No,
Just
it's
time,
but that's
sort of-
impossible, so don't
It's
worry
just some
about
kind
it.
of time thing, Rick. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
something
some
you
kind of time
read
thing.
again on the internet, or as a short story, or something someone told you.
On my walk back from the tube, I saw a jogger who was pushing a pram at the same time. The kid looked terrified. Got my science book out. It said that the static you get on the telly when a channel isn't tuned in properly is radiation that is still knocking about from when the Big Bang happened. I thought about the Big Bang and wondered if it was really a Big Bang, or did it just sound louder as there was no other noise to drown it out.
Good point, though, isn't it?
Carl's diary, Rick, never ceases to amaze. More from that next week.
I don't believe it, he's written it down!
Well, that's the jingle that signals it's time for more extracts from Carl's diary, and we'll lunge straight into it. Wandered down Carnaby Street. There was a happy homeless fella. I gave him £1.50. I thought of a tongue twister after giving him the money. It goes, if you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
It's good, that.
All
Say
right.
it fast.
If you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
Good, isn't it?
Good, that, yeah. You've got too much time on your hands, Carl.
Learned some famous quotes to see if they are as good as my sayings. Number 1, treat every day as if it's your last. Very famous saying. Now, is that something you do, Carl?
But you know, me problem with that one is that if it was your last, you wouldn't want to be doing much. That's the only problem I've got with that. I wouldn't want to, go to a fairground or whatever, because you're going, oh, it's my last day, what am I going to do? And I think you'd spend so much time worrying about what you're going to do that you'd end up staying in.
I think you're right, You've taken some of the poetry out of it. I think it means live life to the fullest, right?
I like the fact that you were musing on the idea that if it was your last day, you'd go to the fair. It's getting such a 19th century way of spending your final day.
I know, yeah. Well, the thing is, the other thing is that the only thing that people get depressed about in terms of sort of like life and death is not the knowledge that they're gonna die, but more the knowledge that they know they're going to die when they're dying. If someone told you, no one ever knows when they're going to die, no one ever gets an illness, no one ever gets hit by a truck, everyone passes away peacefully in their sleep, dreaming they're riding a big marshmallow, right? Then you wouldn't care about anything. It wouldn't matter when. It wouldn't matter if you died tomorrow or in 30 years' time. You'd just live life to the full. You'd have it, every day would be great. You'd go out, you'd come back, you'd fall asleep. That would be amazing. There'd be no stress. There'd be no angsty, we're all going to die stress, because it wouldn't matter. Because it would just be your life. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone guaranteed you, Carl, you're going to die in your sleep? I'm not going to tell you when.
Yeah, but some people do, don't they?
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
but we never know we're going to, because we stress. What if we get a dreadful illness? What if we,
But we're almost not letting people die naturally anymore, are we? Because we're always bodging stuff up.
What do you mean?
Well, someone who might naturally die in the sleep aren't allowed to naturally die in the sleep because they wake them up with those electric things and get them going again and pop in a new lung or whatever whilst they're at it. That's what I'm saying. They don't just... You never hear it anymore, do you? Frank peacefully died in his sleep. No, he died on the operating table whilst we were putting in a new lung. They don't die naturally anymore.
Frank died peacefully with 40,000 volts going through them and a couple of people going, clear! Clear!
Rushing about today. Got to get a lot done as I'm flying to Malaga tomorrow to see my mum and dad. Don't like flying. I'd be happy if they give you a parachute instead of a life jacket. They say Da Vinci invented the parachute as well as the helicopter. He never got round to making them though because he only drew them on some paper. Got up at 5 AM as I had to get to Heathrow to get on the plane to see mum and dad in Malaga. Went out for a drink with a cousin who lives in Spain. Ain't seen her for 27 years. Oh, that must have been tricky, making conversation.
I didn't really bother. Because where do you start? I might as well go up to anyone in the street and start having a chat.
Yeah, you have to get further back than, did you want Chantal to win Big Brother?
Yeah. Me dad and me talked about history. I said we shouldn't go on about things that happened ages ago because I bet something similar has happened more recently.
Brilliant.
Read about an island in the Indian Ocean where there are tribesmen still living like they're cavemen. A helicopter tried to land and the tribesmen chucked spears at them. This is what I meant about not having to talk about things that happened ages ago. We have got new cavemen now, so why do we talk about the old ones? People could have lived before, but computers and all that blew up and books got burnt, so all they had left was what these tribesmen have got left.
Ramblings.
And that's the ramblings
man.
of a maniac. That's just a few hours before you go crazy with a gun in the...
No, but what I mean there is, right, say if all this has happened before, right, podcasting's been happening years ago, something happens.
Again, a lot of information from the Planet of the Apes.
Something happens, world ends, right, we come back again somehow.
Yeah. It's the detail you leave out that makes you intriguing. Just like the watch that you can wear that tells you when you're going to die. How does it work? Pop it on your wrist. That's all the detail you need. So the world happened. We came back.
Have you seen the pictures? Forget it then if you don't get it.
It's interesting that you had all those profound thoughts about this period in the past when they all lived, but you still found it appropriate to include at the end of that. It says the tribesmen wave their knobs about when they've had enough of having visitors.
That's what it said in the paper. That's what happens. They're quite happy.
What paper is this that you're reading?
It was in like a paper a couple of days ago. It said they don't mind having visitors if they're bringing them coconuts and stuff that they can eat. Once they've got everything they need, they start waving the tackle about, and that means like, right, leave now. Which you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, at a dinner party.
My grandfather used to do that. Got a book sent to me called Freaks. It's a bit heavy, but it's got some interesting pictures in it. Read a bit about the two-headed nightingale. She/they was on tour in London years and years ago. It cost 2 shillings to have a front row seat. She/they had 2 heads/2 arms and 4 legs. They are called Siamese twins because the first twins that were born stuck together were Siamese. On one of the pictures, they are playing chess against a doctor. That hardly seems fair.
2 heads are better than 1.
So it's 2 heads, 2 arms, and 4 legs. That's just 2 women in one dress.
Yeah, that's 2 women with an arm missing.
Yeah. Spoke to Ricky and his friend Glyn about art. I just don't get it. Ricky had some odd pictures on his walls. I don't have any pictures up in my flat because of the mirrored wall. But I can't say I'm bothered. The mirrored wall, we should just explain what that is. When you moved into your flat, there was an enormous mirror on one wall, was that right?
We just got this flat, and you know, it's not a big flat, so I think the people who had it before us, he was a gay fella, right, which was a bit like, oh, so you've been doing with that mirror and that. But
What?
no, just, you know.
What? What has he been doing with the mirror?
Well,
What's
it's
he
just
been
a
doing?
bit-
Why-
no,
what?
it's just because they're quite sort of experimental in it, aren't they? And
I don't know, what do you mean? What do they do?
Well, I wouldn't know anything about it, but go on.
No, what do you want? What?
no, I don't.
Experimental in what
What do
way?
you mean experimental?
I just mean, you know, they'd be doing stuff.
What?
Of whatever they do.
Chemistry,
What?
have a chemistry set out, they were doing experiments, what?
No, just doing what.
Singing I Am What I Am and just checking out
No, each
the
to
dance
their own. I'm
moves.
not having a go at anyone, but
What?
I'm just saying, like, they're doing what they're doing. Which
Carl, you're not
is
having a
annoying
phone
as well.
guy, yeah?
Because,
You're not
no,
s-
I'm not. I'm
Well-
not. This is why.
Why are you worried about what a little gay fella was doing in your flat before you got it in front of a mirror?
I wasn't worried about it.
Why
I
are
mean,
you thinking about what he's doing? Why are you fantasising what a little gay fella was doing in front of your mirror in your...
I'm not bothered. I'm just telling you why it was a bit odd that he had a mirror in there, right? But forget the history.
But you've got a mirror in there now, haven't you?
No, because what I did was I was going to take it down, and I thought, oh, it's a bit dangerous. This, you know, it could crack and.
Because it's the
fall on
size
me.
of the whole wall, isn't it?
It took up a whole wall.
Right.
So like when he's moving about everywhere, he's got a good view of it and that. But he's got this full wall of mirror, and I thought I can't take that down. And I thought, what can I do? So I've just put wallpaper on it,
Brilliant.
and it looks all right. You wouldn't know, what have you? But it means that I can't put any pictures up. That's all I'm saying. Because if I put a nail in,
And what don't you understand about art? What about art don't you understand? The concept? Specifics?
just the way some people like, you know, the ones you've got, where it's just like a block of colour on a bit of canvas. It's like, what's that? Just,
Abstract. It's just abstract. It's you know, it's vibrancy of colour. It's a, you know, an attack on the senses. Or it could be, there could be something in there that you might see. You might not see first time round, or it could be, you know.
yeah, but there's loads of stuff to look at without having to do that.
But
You've
that's
got
the point.
windows. I can understand if you had a cell and there's no windows and you want a bit of colour, but you've got
Oh,
a
yeah.
window to look out of, and you've got like just a big block of.
But I was
Colour on
explaining this to you, that the photograph where people before, you know, the art was photography. It was realistic, and you know, they had to make it look like the subject. But then when cameras came in, that's when people started
Yeah,
doing surreal stuff. And
I
'cause
understand that.
Otherwise, there was no point to it. They had to find a new way to represent things that photography couldn't do as such.
No,
So-
that's like when we were in London having a shop around at Christmas, and there was that picture of fruit for 700 quid. It's like, well, just get some fruit. You know what I mean? You can get some real fruit for £3.
Yeah.
I understand that, but there's nothing wrong with like having a. We'll get. Don't invent cameras then. One or the other. Do you know what I mean? That's what annoys me. Someone invents something, and then they go, "We've got to invent something else." Like the abstract thing. Why has someone gone? Oh, I can't have paintings anymore because.
What do you think of Dali? Going melting clocks and stuff. No?
I mean, the first one was all right when he did the first clock, but then all the time he's just like, "Oh, I'll draw something and it's got a melting clock on it. I'll do a sheep. Put one of them on it."
Have you seen his lobster telephone?
That annoys me.
Why?
Because it's not. I mean, I think what annoyed me more with that is when I heard about how it happened. He had some artist mate round, right? And I don't know what happened. They were
okay.
they were
That's a
eating.
hell of an anecdote.
No, but they were eating. They were eating some food and what have you.
Yeah.
Lobsters?
And yeah, they were eating lobster.
Oh, right.
And
That's handy.
I don't know, the other artist, whoever it was, sort of
Telephone.
started saying, "Oh, you and your clocks and all that," right?
Brilliant.
And, they
This didn't
started,
happen.
They
Yeah.
started arguing,
Yeah.
and he chucked some of the lobster.
Bollocks.
And it landed on the
It
phone.
bounced off his mate's head, went on the phone, and they both looked at each other like, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And they brought out that phone as a bit of art. Things like that annoy me. because
happen.
it was then just messing
That
about.
didn't happen.
Just telling you what I know. I saw his work. Each to their own, if that's what he's doing. I'm just saying, I'm not putting my stamp of approval on it.
Heaven forbid. Well, you know, as you mentioned in your diary, your favourite artist is Lowry, because you can look at them for ages and see someone different every time you look at it.
All I'm saying is, art should be there to tell a story, not just to have a splash of colour. We know colour's out there, there's loads of colour. We don't need to be reminded of it.
But colour's part of our evolution, and so it does something to us. Just like sounds.
Yeah, but I'm saying, do a picture,
Smells.
colour it in. Still use the colours, but draw something with it rather than just going, a bit of yellow, a bit of red. Like that one you've got, just red and black. What's that meant to do?
Well, it does something.
What?
Well, I like it, I enjoy it, so it does something.
Yeah, you have it then. I'm just saying, I prefer it if it was something.
And so let me just get straight, you had a mirror on one wall, so you padded that wall,
It's just
and
sort
you
of,
padded
it's
the
just-
others.
It's just sort of wallpaper on it.
Right.
Amazing.
And there's no other art in there,
No,
it's
no,
just an empty cell.
Was Suzanne like some art? Just like Suzanne's not allowed to watch telly unless it's her favourite thing. Otherwise, she's got to talk to me about stuff. There's no art. There's no point. Just wallpaper.
I'm just saying, we've got three windows we can look out of.
Right.
Right? Stop looking at the walls. Look out the window.
Some new words have been introduced into the dictionary. Too many words. We should have some system where we can get rid of words if they aren't used a certain number of times.
Well, that we do.
They do die out, don't they, eventually?
Like what?
You don't have to use them.
No, but they don't, do they? They keep adding them. And I just worry about, you know, this is the problem with, like, your head can only hold so much, can't it?
Yeah.
It all very well when Adam and Eve was knocking about. There's no history, they don't have to remember anything. All I'm saying is, fine, bring out a new word, but once you bring out a new one, bin another one. The dictionary's getting bigger and bigger, no one's keeping an eye on it.
Well, I think they are.
They're not, they keep adding.
It doesn't grow. They don't just dig it up one day.
So-
It's got bigger. What have you done?
So you're
Left
happy,
it out.
You're happy for them to stick in iPod, let's say.
But
you
we
know.
can pride ourselves on having more words in the English language than any other language. I think we've got twice as many as the second. I think maybe Russian. I'm not sure about that. I'm sure someone email us. But
But we don't talk the most, so there's a lot of clutter there.
what do you mean we don't talk the most?
Well, you'd have to, you'd say
Nothing
that.
as expressive as the English language.
Yeah, no, because we've got a word for everything. I'm just saying that I don't use all these words that are coming out, and I just think, like I say, keep an eye on it. Some sort of, I don't know how it can be controlled.
But Shakespeare invented words. I think Shakespeare invented about 1,200 words.
Yeah, and we're probably still using a lot of his. So why do
Yeah.
we keep sticking more in the pot?
Right.
Stop using loads of words.
People are panicking in New York about the snow they're getting. It's 2 foot deep. They're saying it's to do with global warming. I don't get it. 2 days ago they were saying the world's getting warmer and the ice is melting on one of the poles where the polar bears are. As long as we get snow on the world, does it matter where it goes? Read on the internet that heads are bigger now than they were years ago. Brains are getting bigger, apparently. This is because we're being told too much information. We are told too much stuff about things that we wouldn't have known about years ago. You've just made that leap, haven't you? Maybe heads and brains are getting larger, but the fact that it's because there's too much information cramming in them, where
Well,
have you
it
got
is,
that from?
as time goes on, isn't it? It's that thing of, we're being taught more and more every day. As the time goes on, something's happening every day. You've got to remember that.
No, you haven't.
You have. It's the same, like I said, you know, with the Adam and Eve thing. They didn't have that much to remember. They come on the world, they go, what happened yesterday? Oh, not much.
My mum phoned and said that my Auntie Nora, the classic Auntie Nora, wanted me to look on the internet to find out what the weather will be like in Spain at the end of November. I don't know where she gets her money from. 2 months ago she was asking me dad how much it would be to get her back garden astroturfed because she's sick and tired of the grass getting out of
What does
hand.
she want to do? Start a football team? What does she want to back garden AstroTurf?
She likes the sort of green look, but she doesn't like the headache that comes with it, so she's just looking into getting that false grass put in there.
Brilliant.
Don't know how much it is. But.
Went round to Ricky's and had some chicken curry that Ricky's girlfriend Jane had made. Ricky and Jane were going on holiday for a few days and had arranged for Glyn to come in and make sure the cat was okay while they were away. I'm sick of that cat. I was surprised that they hadn't paid for the little shit to go away with them on first class. Blimey, getting a bit vitriolic in the diary.
Why doesn't he like the fact that I've got a cat and I love the cat? Why?
It's just everything in that house that you've got gets sort of special treatment, and it's a cat. And it
What do you mean you
annoys
get
me.
special treatment?
Sometimes
We put food down for it, and sometimes it gets on our lap and we stroke it.
You don't just stroke it.
We're
you
not saying
massage it. You massage its back. You go, no, you're stressed out.
Well,
You're
no, it's
stressed
good.
out."
No, I'm not saying you stressed out. At no point did I say you stressed out. You said, "What the fuck are you doing for? Is it stressed out or something?" I like touching my cat.
To be honest with you, I don't like Ricky's cat.
I can't believe
Because every time I go around there, it goes straight from the ghoulies.
yeah,
Instantly.
He'd probably seen you in the sea and thought, well, if he's waving it about, I'll have a bit of that.
But it's like the lizard thing you've got. It's just sat there. You've bought a big box, right, to be in.
Right,
And the
one,
last
it's a salamander, so it's an amphibian. It's
Yeah.
not a box, it's a big vivarium.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
And
is...
as it and if you're going to criticise someone for just sitting there, having a round head and doing nothing with its life, people who live in glass houses,
No,
we've
but
done this one.
Do you know what gets me though, right, Steve? When I was there, I was looking at it and I thought, is it dead? Right, because he's just sat there. Like,
and it was thinking exactly the same fucking
He's sat
thing.
there, not moving, right? And then on the top of the box is like a box full of crickets and stuff. That's it. It's its food.
Yeah.
Right? But they were more active than the thing that it was going to feed. Get rid of the lizards. Keep them in there. More entertaining. Don't understand it.
A few months back, a girl who was having a kid showed me one of them scans of the kid that was in her. That's science gone mad, innit? I couldn't think of anything nice to say, as it looked like a frog.
Do you know why we've got to that point?
What?
Why have we got to see something that young? Why?
Because people can keep an eye on the progress of the baby in the womb.
Yeah, but why are they printing it out and stuff? Surely that's for a doctor to see.
Well, that's just an added bonus for people who are interested in such
Well, that's
things.
like saying, why do you take pictures of anything?
No, because normally pictures are like, you know, in Brazil, sat in the sea or whatever. You'd go, oh yeah, I remember that day, it was a good day or whatever. But
Wasn't.
it's just kind of like, why have you got to see something? You might as well.
Well,
go
you
to the
just listen. Why have you got to see something that small? So why would you take a picture of Steve in the sea?
No, but what I mean is, why? At what point are we going to stop? Are we going to start sort of X-raying the fella's testicles and saying, well, there it is at a really young age? Well, where are we going to stop?
It's just horses for courses, isn't it? Some people like to have a record of their baby in the womb. They
That's
like
right.
to show the baby. They're excited about it.
They sit down and they show the friends the slideshow. That's
you
the
go.
birth. Oh, that's the conception. Oh, look, Ron's going a bit mad there, isn't he?
But why do I need to see this? This is what I'm saying. It was an awkward situation because she was happy with it. I was like, oh God. You know what I mean? It was an odd-looking thing. I couldn't say, oh, it looks like you, because that would be a diss.
Oh, Christ!
Met Suzanne at Euston Station. I said I would sort out the tea tonight, so I called the curry house. The fella couldn't understand me. I asked for 2 poppadoms. He kept saying, how many? I kept saying 2. He still couldn't understand. I said 1 more than 1. He understood. When we picked up the food and took it home, there were 5 poppadoms in the bag.
Oh, God! Oh, God.
There is a restaurant somewhere that sells knobs to eat.
No, there's not.
There is.
No, there's not.
No, there is.
It says that women can't eat too many of them, and if you want a seal's knob for dinner, you have to book in advance.
Right, it's gobbledygook. This is the ramblings of a madman again.
It's a trend, he writes. It won't last long. It'll be like hummus.
But hummus, when did that happen?
What do you mean it's still going? It's a Greek traditional food.
I know, but there's a restaurant down the road that's all they do. That isn't a proper meal. That's a side order, isn't it? That's like having a restaurant just flogging tomato ketchup. Hummus isn't a meal. They don't even try and kid you and get you in and flog you just hummus. They actually say it's hummus today. Not going to work. Be shut down within a month.
Called Ricky and asked what the difference is between the mind and the brain.
Yeah, he did.
That's a hell of a phone call
Yeah,
to get.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Ricky did explain, but I can't remember what he said. I wondered at what age you are when the mind kicks in. Okay. Ricky changed the subject and said there is an island called Spider Island. There's nothing but spiders on it. A bloke went to visit the island and said there was 1,000 types of spider in one tree.
Yeah.
Excited by
I
that?
didn't tell you that.
No, I looked it up after talking to you.
Oh, right. Is that true?
Yeah, they just said there's loads of them.
What do you think about that? What do you think of an island that's just full of spiders?
It's a bit daft, isn't it?
What do you think they should do then?
I don't know, because you need spiders. I don't know what they do, but they say a world without spiders, like, wouldn't be good.
Who says that?
I don't know, someone. But they sort of do something. There's something about if you did get rid of them all, it would have an effect.
Well, of course it would. Get rid of anything, it would have an effect.
Not everything, though. Like I've said, you know, jellyfish and what have you.
Well, no.
The world wouldn't change.
Well, it would.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, it would, because it's part of an ecosystem, so they're something's food, aren't they?
No, but it's 97% water or something.
Yeah.
So how much are they doing? Just give them another 3%, make them water. And that's more useful.
Give them another 3% and make them water. Oh God.
The rain ain't stopped. The old woman with the bent neck. Now, we've not heard about the old woman with the bent neck
Who's the
before.
old woman
She's
with
a
the
whole
bent
new
neck?
character.
What's this? Incredible.
She's really old.
And she's got a bent neck, yeah, but tell us something else.
I don't know what's up with her, but her head sort of comes out of here.
It's radio. They can't see what you're
Sort
doing.
of comes out of her chest. So from behind it looks like she hasn't got an head. It's really weird, right? I mean, she's old, and I don't know what's happened. Just Suzanne said it's sad, and her bones have sort of bent up or something, or maybe she carried something heavy when she was younger.
On her head.
And you know, I don't know. It's sad and everything.
Yeah.
But she's wandering up and down the street. Always looks fed up, but you can see her. You have to sort of bend down a little bit. But her head's just. I thought I told you about.
She
it
finds a
before.
lot of change.
I said yeah.
Well, as you write in the diary, the old woman with the bent neck is struggling in the weather. The rain must be running down her back. Don't know why she went out in this weather. Me back's doing me head in today. It does this every time the weather turns a bit grim, ever since I tried to kick me height. Oh, remember that? We've heard this before. Kicked me height and landed on me arse. Was going to treat Suzanne to a trip to the pictures to see Breakback Mountain, but then remembered there is a programme on about Two-Headed Kid tonight. A band from the Conga have won the Best Newcomers in a Radio 3 competition. They use pots and pans for instruments. It says that the Conga is a poor, sad place, so why do people do that happy dance at the end of parties called the Conga?
Right. One is the Congo. There's no place called the Conga. They come from a place called the Congo. Where do you come from? Okie dokie. It's a terrible place that we don't know whether to put our left leg in or our right leg in. Sometimes we shake it all about.
We're not sure if we should.
But Conga! Fucking hell, you're such a...
Went into the gadget shop today. It's full of stuff that we don't need. Gadget used to be a good word that made you think of James Bond with all his gadgets. The best thing I could find in the shop was a clock that ran on potatoes. We are definitely going backwards.
I agree. Well, who cares about that? You know, a little electrical impulse, so what?
Had a night out with old schoolmate. Found out about more of the other lads I went to school with. One is living underground.
What do you mean living underground? Not like a mole. Do you
Yeah.
mean he's got a basement, or do you mean he digs a hole every night?
My mate went to visit him, and he said it had been raining really heavily and that, and it's all the rain's running in.
What do you mean he went to visit him? He went down here? What's that? That's an hole in the ground. Yeah, come in.
He just said, "Oh, come round see us," and he's living underground.
What do you mean he's living
He
underground?
wanted to be in the army, but was turned away, and that's the closest thing you can sort of.
How is that
like
similar
the-
to
Oh,
living
that's
in the
exactly
army?
like the army, yeah, where they teach you trades and, you know,
I don't know.
engineering and flying.
He's happy down there. He said it was really muddy and what have you. He said he won't be going back to visit him.
What's he got down there?
Just stuff, just like a sleeping bag, a lamp.
He
That's
dug,
what I think.
he's dug himself a subterranean cave.
Near my old infant school, they knocked it down because it was like a wreck. You'd be in the class and you could lean on the wall.
Yeah,
and your
subsidence.
hand would go through it and stuff. And they knocked it all down, and I think that's when he was at his most happy, this bloke.
I believe this, though. I believe someone he went to school with now lives in a hole. That doesn't shock me. Whether the tales I've heard of horses in houses and big-headed kids with webbed hands and feet, you know, and him, I believe that someone he went to school with now lives in a hole. That isn't bizarre to me. That's
You spent far too long with him if that now you're just happy to accept.
I totally accept that. I'd be surprised if I walked round where he lived that there weren't more people living in holes. His dad wanted to throw his budgie on the fire.
True.
His budgie died, his dad said, let's throw it on the fire. I mean, his mum, what did your mum do when your budgie died?
She just was worried about the other bird that was left, so she made it a bit of company by getting a rock, getting a feather off the dead budgie, sticking it on the rock, putting it in the cage.
So, a man living in a hole
It's not
is
unusual.
not that bizarre. Right, carry on.
I read me science magazine. Some things I learnt from the science magazine. Number 1, space is running out of space. We should stay out of the sea 'cause shark attacks are up.
Yeah. Probably 4 a year now.
Well, he just says here, we should just stop going in the sea.
Yeah.
There's no need for it.
Exactly.
Why is there no need for going in the sea?
Just because there isn't now, is there? We've got loads of land. So just, you know, one or the other. We walked out the sea. Now, this is what I mean about going backwards, getting back in it again. We came from the sea originally, now we're going back in it. Don't go in it, unless you're in a boat.
The rules, according to Carl
The rules of
Pilkington.
Carl Pilkington.
Oh, God.
Did the podcast and then went for a walk round Manchester Square. Years ago, a woman lived round there who had a head like a pig. She was known as the Pig Woman of Manchester Square. That made me think if there were other pig-headed women knocking about London.
Do you know what I mean? Why was she nicknamed that? Why not just the pig-headed woman? That suggests to me like there was loads of pig-headed women, and that's the one of Manchester Square.
Right.
Well, no, it was more to do with identifying her, not amongst other pig-headed women, but go, have you seen the pig woman of Manchester Square? I.e., go down there and see the pig woman, it's in Manchester Square.
What happens if she's walked off from there, though, and you go, well, no, but I saw one on New Cavendish Street.
No,
Is that the
well,
same woman?
she'll always come back if you rattle the feed.
Watched a film about Hitler. Didn't watch all of it as it was subtitled. Can't be doing with that. Asked Suzanne if cinemas are full of deaf people when they're showing subtitled films. She said, shh, I'm trying to watch it. I said, what do you mean, shh? It's subtitled, I can make as much noise as I want.
Yeah.
She's a lucky, lucky woman.
You must be a joy to watch a subtitled film. I mean, the concentration is up there already. I mean, it is hard to concentrate. It's not as easy as when you're hearing it, because you know, you read things, but you know, it's possible. If you had a buffoon going, I'm just going to sit here and make as much noise as I want, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
What is the point of that? I mean, it's possible, but why do that in a cinema? Just walk into a subtitled film and go, right, everybody? Let's all do the conga.
Well, yeah, or during ballet. You know, I mean, ballet, they're just dancing. You don't need to listen to the words, just have a
Yeah.
conversation. We're having our bathroom done. The bathroom man was round at 9 this morning. We weren't allowed to use the shower because it all had to be bone dry before we could use his waterproof filler. Not that waterproof, then. Went for a brew with Ricky. We talked about monkeys and how they are closer to humans than they are to apes, and how bees will drink cider to get off their heads. Now and again there is a bee that lets the drinking get in the way of the work, and other bees sting it to death. Blimey.
Yeah, well, there's bees. They love a drink, and they will drink pure alcohol. They drink 100%. They drink ethanol. You know, I don't know why. They love getting off it, and they fall down and they're drunk. Right? A bee can take in the equivalent of 20 litres of wine. Right? But some bees get addicted in the same sort of percentage as human addiction. Like 10% of bees, they can't get enough of it. They take ethanol, they take cider apples and that. And then when they get back to the hive, they go in a bit pissed, and they've got guard bees, and they go, come on, we've all had a drink.
Bouncers.
Yeah, they sort of are, right? And they push them away, and they push them away again. Then the next time they go, right, I've had enough. And they give it a good hiding. And Carl couldn't get over this. I saw his face. But I knew that he was thinking of that bee with sort of like eyes rolling round his head, a little bit belligerent with his jacket on backwards.
Yeah.
You know, and the bouncer going, come on, son, we've all had enough, let's move away,
Yeah.
move away.
You're not coming in, right? You're wearing trainers.
Yeah, you know, you're wearing 3 pairs of trainers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm sick of it, you know.
But what I did find out, because I went home and went on the computer trying to find out about drunk bees knocking about, they're not actually meant to fly. It's only
Well,
because
they
they
can
don't
drink and
know.
fly.
Well, no, but if they were told that you're not actually designed to fly, they wouldn't bother.
No, this is that thing that goes around that aerodynamically, on the face of it, looking at the size of the wings and the body proportions and everything, that it's a surprise that they can fly. Okay, it's not that no one's ever told them they can't, and as soon as someone tells them you're not meant to fly, they all fall out of the sky going, "Oh, what are we doing?" Like in a cartoon.
No, but it's something about the confidence and that. At the moment, nobody's saying
It's nothing to do
to
with the confidence. There is no such thing as confidence in bees. A bee never loses his nerve. That's not why it drinks. Because what are you drinking for? I'm just not confident anymore. There's no point to turn to the bottle. I can't go up there again. You're an idiot.
Suzanne said today can be my day because she has been a bit of a pain with her illness and that. So she said I can do what I want today. We went for a walk around Green Park. Loads of tourists were about looking at the Queen's house. She was in because the flag was up. I wouldn't want to live there. Why wouldn't you want to live there? Just because it's right in the centre of town?
It's just not in a good place, is it? It's got a roundabout outside and that.
Really busy.
It's pretty good.
I went for a pee in the toilets. When I came out, a pigeon had shat on Suzanne's coat. She was in a bit of a mood about it. A bird shat on my ear once. I left it for about 10 to 15 minutes until I got home. I washed it off, and in that 10 to 15 minutes, it had corroded me ear.
He's had a lot of problem with ears. He told me the other day, he got up, washed, had a bath, had some breakfast, went to the shops to get a newspaper and had a chat with a woman in the corner shop, got home, pottering around, looked in the mirror, he had a cotton bud sticking out of his ear. He went, what annoyed me was she didn't say anything. Like it's her responsibility.
Yeah.
No, but she knows me well enough to sort of, you know, go, you know, you got a cotton bud in your ear.
No, she knows you well enough to go, Carl's got a cotton bud in his ear, I've seen worse. When you've got a cotton bud in your ear, what interrupted
I think Suzanne called or my dad called or something, and then because I was running a little bit late because I'd been talking to them, the earbud was in, I just popped my coat on and went to the shop.
Carl, you got a toothbrush in your mouth. Oh.
Walked through Covent Garden. There were 5 of them mimes knocking about. I don't understand why people take pictures of mimes. Everyone looks like a mime in a picture.
That's so true. That's really true. If the point is they're staying still, if that's their skill, a picture won't tell that story. That's absolutely true.
My dad took the cat to be put down today because it kept bumping into things since losing its sight. My mum said she's not going to get another one. She said the parrot is looking worried as it's seen the budgie and the cat go in the space of 3 months.
Your mum said the parrot's looking worried. What happened to the cat then?
It gets into a lot of fights. It lost one eye, and then it got into another fight and lost another.
Oh,
and it was just walking around bumping into stuff. I mean, the vet sort of said, oh, we can do stuff to keep it alive and all that, but it's a bit out of order, isn't it? Because it costs a fortune, they shouldn't tell you.
But
Mum and Dad can't afford to have eyes put on it and stuff.
no, you can't have eyes put on a cat anyway.
No, but they said, oh, we can do something here. We can have its eyes sorted out.
But I don't think you should be allowed cats.
Why?
Not the Pilkington family.
Why not? Well,
They
they have
keep
good
dying.
lives. Yeah, I know, but they have good lives whilst they're still knocking about. It's just that we get through them.
It's a good job you're not going to have kids.
Oh, God almighty. I can't believe it. The cat that kept throwing up. So his mum shaved it. Unbelievable. Dry wipe cat.
A mate sent me a story on email about a bloke in China who has this weird illness that means he can't have his picture taken. That's not the weird bit. If he tries, his body doesn't appear in the photo.
Don't talk shit.
He has had group pictures taken and everyone appeared apart from him.
Don't talk shit.
The
That's
story
bollocks.
had a picture next to it of a family photo and it said he was stood at the back, but you couldn't see him.
Right, he wasn't in the picture.
He was in the picture.
No, he wasn't in the picture.
He's done loads of tests and stuff.
No,
on him.
I haven't done loads of tests. This is bollocks. There's no way this is scientifically possible. What's his want? Yeah, now he's wanted. Just a white bit of paper up on the police wall. Have you seen this man? What man? If you see him, tell us. You're talking shit.
Suzanne watched the film You've Got Mail tonight for about the 14th time. I don't think you could properly fancy someone without seeing them, unless you're blind. I think it's odd when blind people have affairs. Why is that odd?
Just because most stuff is based on looks, isn't it? So you think once they've found someone, they're happy with them. stick with them.
But no, it's not true. But I mean, most things are based on looks.
What I mean is when you first like meet someone and that.
Well, then initially it's only looks because
Yeah.
you don't know them.
So that's what I'm saying.
But that's a ridiculous thing to say, isn't it?
Well, no, it's just what I think. I'm not saying that's like fact or anything. I'm just thinking if you're blind, why mess about?
You're still basing on it if it's only looks that
Yeah.
people find. What?
Yeah, I'm just saying. So why is a blind person messing about having an affair?
Because I'm saying that presumably that blind person isn't basing anything on looks.
I just all right. I mean, maybe that's not. I mean more like.
Do you want me to
how-
cross it out? Shall I cross it out? 'Cause
Well,
it's
it's just the same way. I think I put how people. I read something in a Sunday paper once with some bloke who was going out with some woman. He ended up going out with a sister who was a twin. If you're gonna have a change, have a change.
Spoke to Ricky about trips to the moon. He was up for going just to see what the world looks like. I came up with the idea of a giant mirror on the moon that would reflect the world back. He had a few questions, but but I had the answers.
Yeah.
He changed the subject. I won.
Right. My first question was, how would you get it up there? He said bit by bit. That'd be a good mirror then, wouldn't it? I said, how big would it be? He went, you'd still need a telescope. I said, how would you get it on the right side of the moon, always facing the right? He went, what? He went, does the moon move then? I went, yes.
And if we don't like the mirror on the moon, we can always wallpaper over it. It's Suzanne's birthday tomorrow, so I've got to get her something. I sometimes think it would be best if we didn't celebrate birthdays. I think people would live a bit longer if they didn't know how old they were. Age puts restrictions on things. She said something about wanting one of them posh badges to put on her coat. I will look for one later.
I love the fact that around the time that you've got to buy Suzanne her birthday present, you think that birthday presents are a bad idea.
Got up early, it's Suzanne's birthday, gave her the card and present. She was well happy with her posh badge. She wore it to work. It's quite nice to hear a moment where she was actually happy for once in your company. They always say when you get someone a present you should buy them something they wouldn't buy themselves. Daft rule. I want something I would buy myself if I had the money. When I was young, me Auntie Nora got me a present I wouldn't buy myself. It was a t-shirt with her face on. Looked at what's been going on in the world. Someone has found some people who live in an old town somewhere where they are so old-fashioned they still walk on all fours. There is a picture of them and they use shoes on their hands.
That's not old-fashioned. Why is that old-fashioned?
That's some kind of regressive evolution.
Yeah, really old-fashioned.
Yeah,
It's not true, is it?
it is true. It's somewhere in.
Well, I believe they have found a group of people that are living and walking around on all fours, but
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that's-
believe they're wearing shoes on their hands.
And I don't believe they haven't evolved to standing up.
No, they just haven't seen other people walking on 2 feet.
Don't talk shit all your life.
That's all it's about, though, isn't it? You copy. When you're a baby, if you were stuck in a room, you'd wander about on all fours because that's the way. That's an easy way of getting about. So you only walk on 2 feet because you see everyone else doing it.
Well, I don't believe that is the case because, as I understand it, some of the family are walking on 2 feet. So I don't know what the ins and outs of it are. I know there's a forthcoming documentary on the BBC, so maybe we should watch that and then we'll all know what's going on. Instead of just leaping to conclusions because you read half of it on the internet and then skipped on to something
all
else.
I'm saying is, though, you would wear shoes on your hands if you're roaming about like that.
So
I mean,
you
it
just
didn't-
confessed there that you leapt from fact to fiction, did you, in the space of one diary entry?
It's just that I saw a little picture.
And you assumed that they'd be wearing shoes on their feet.
If
And
they've got
hands.
shoes on their feet, they might as well have them on their hands because their hands are doing the same as the feet. If you're not going to wear them on your hands, don't put them on your feet then.
I'm beginning to think some monkey news was bollocks.
Treated Suzanne to her tea, went and got her a curry from the shop opposite. While I waited for the food, I read a story in the Metro newspaper about an alien gang that kept appearing in someone's garden. The bloke moved, but when he used to pass the house at night, he would still see the aliens knocking about, hiding underneath his old shed. There was other alien stuff, but I had to go as the food was ready.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying, that.
Yeah, load of bollocks again.
Went and did some shopping for stuff as it was my turn. Suzanne moaned a bit because I forgot orange juice and bought some cheap toilet paper. She always buys the expensive toilet paper. I don't know why they make toilet paper with pretty patterns on it.
That made it into the diary.
Up and out at 9 o'clock to go to the Cotswolds. No, I think but this was a gift for your girlfriend, wasn't it, for her
Yeah,
birthday?
it was a
You went to the
birthday and
Cotswolds,
that, so I just went for one night.
Got the car and headed off. We stopped at a service station to get some breakfast. We had fried toast with an egg on it, 1 sausage and beans, twice. Cost us £13.85. They sell everything separate, so it seems cheap. At that price, we must have been charged for each bean. We found the B&B, but they wouldn't let us in the room because we were early. We went for a walk. There was not much around the B&B, so we had a quick walk around the car park. And went back in. Happy birthday. The room was now ready. It's an alright room. 3 biscuits, so I ate them straight away. Like a child.
Like a dog! He runs in, jumps on the bed. No.
Get off the bed, not on the furniture. The room overlooked the car park that we'd already been round. Just staring at the window. Remember when we went there?
We'd always have the car park.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The room had posh coat hangers in the wardrobe with sponge on them.
So I ate the sponge.
Don't think they are needed. We went and booked a table for Sunday dinner and went on another walk. There was a field that was there just for birds to live on. We couldn't see any, so we went to the pub. Headed back to where we were staying for our dinner, I had beef. It was nice enough, but there was a family of 13 behind us. I don't see the point in going out in large numbers. They annoyed me. One of the family asked for sorbet before his next course. He was only about 11. He thought he was it. I said to Suzanne, I've had enough and needed a kip. Watched Planet Earth on BBC One. They filmed a panda for 4 weeks and all it did was sit in its cave. It did nout. If I was Fiat, I wouldn't name one of my cars after them as it suggests it won't work or go very far. It'd be like bringing out a Ford Sloth. No one would buy it.
A Ford Sloth. I would love that ad campaign. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, God. The new Vauxhall Slug. Oh.
We had a look round the local village. There wasn't much to it. We did the usual thing and had a look round the church graveyard to see how old the dead people are.
Suzanne's had a hell of a time so far. She's gone to the Cotswolds, the room wasn't ready, she's seen the car park, an empty field, and now let's go and play how old the dead people are.
I like the fact that you mentioned we did the usual thing of having a look round the church graveyard. Do you make her do that every time you go away?
I like the fact, I want to know what she did for 2 hours when you slept. Did she just like...
She went to a club, had a whale of a time.
No, she just looked out at the car park, just like, memories.
But that's what you do, though, isn't it? When you go to these places, there's nothing else unless you want fudge, or you know, you walk round a church graveyard and have a look. There's nothing.
We went home. It took 3 hours to drive back. People say they go to the country to see the wildlife. I saw rabbits, pheasants, and a fox on the way home. They were all dead in the road. I was just intrigued to know, because Rob from Burton-on-Trent sent this in, and he wants to know that, because he's just started seeing someone, and he wants to know what your advice, Carl, is on how to keep her happy. You know, he's just started a relationship with someone, he wants to know what your advice would be to keep her happy, because, you know, I mean, he won't have heard that you took Suzanne on that wonderful trip to the Cotswolds, so what's your your advice, really, for someone who's perhaps just started a relationship? I mean, you've been with Suzanne for, what, 9 years?
Ages.
Mm.
I don't think you should have to go out of your way to please them, because then it's not the right person. I think you should just do what you want, and then if they like it, then they're the right ones for you. So don't go out of your way too much. I mean, I got the posh badge for a birthday. That's once a year. Rest of the time, it's kind of like, you know, I like weird stuff. I like watching weird stuff and all that. Now and again, I won't make her watch it. I'll tape it.
This is amazing advice.
But sometimes
This is amazing advice.
sometimes you just say, no, come on, the bloke with the 2 heads on, I want to watch it live.
So, give and take is what you're saying there.
That's all. It shouldn't be hard. As soon as it's hard, it's not right. So just go about your business. See if she joins in.
Brilliant. Another quote for the book.
Woke up to the Commonwealth Games on the radio. Now, what are you making of the Commonwealth Games? Is that something that interests you? Are you a sports fan?
I'm not really. I mean, Suzanne's sort of been getting up early, especially to watch it. You know how I feel about a lot of it. It just seems to be sort of wasted. If people are running fast, use it. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just trying to beat your own record or someone else's, do something where you do have to run. If you're a good swimmer, be a lifeguard. Don't be messing about going up and down.
Went home and looked up Freud on the internet. Didn't find him that interesting, so looked at some other philosophers instead. Socrates, Aristotle. Why have you just listed some philosophers?
Just to show that I'm learning.
Well, that's not learning.
That's just learning their names.
That's a list. You might as well write 1 to 100.
Yeah, but if someone says, "Oh, what's your favourite philosopher?" I'll go, "Hang on a minute," and I've got them written down.
But why you can't just
Wait a
pick
minute,
one?
I'll go home, get my enormous diary out.
Yeah. Get a wheelbarrow, bring in my workings, and say one of the names I've written down.
And when they say, well, why do you like him?
why do you
just run away.
Well, I noticed you put Socrates first. Why is he your favourite philosopher?
You throw the diary at them and leg it. Oh, and then you go on to say, it's weird how names have changed, but then there's no other point there.
It just is, isn't it? When you think about, like, Socrates, I've never heard that on anyone who I know, is what I mean. It's just, in a way...
But you're not Greek, are you?
But how did that go about back then? I mean, say if you were phoning someone up and they said, I'm booking a table for 2, they go, name? Socrates. Did he ever go, cheers? Without going, can you spell that for me?
But I don't know what else point you're making.
I'm just saying it's a name that's awkward. You're always going to have to go, can you spell that for me? You go, and it's not just him. Look at all them other names that are on that list.
But they're from a different country.
And a different era.
Yeah, I know, but the names, I've been to Rome and stuff, and you sort of go...
Well, ancient Rome?
Just Rome. It hasn't changed, has it? Rome, so it can be ancient Rome or Rome in 2006. It's the same buildings.
Oh, I used to love Nero going around in his Fiat Punto.
Lao Tzu from years ago came up with some good stuff. 1, he who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know. Not entirely true. To lead people, walk behind them.
Yeah.
And of course, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step.
Yeah, good that.
Just favourites.
Maybe this is why people are at the start line spectating at the Commonwealth Games.
Well, no, it's just that I've never understood why in Olympics and stuff like that, if you're going to watch, don't stand around the start line, go to the end, where you see the winner. But because of that saying, it actually makes sense, doesn't it? It's like, well, every step starts with a step, or whatever.
Say it again?
Every race, you know, you've got to start with a step.
Yeah.
So,
Which is, who am I talking to now, you or your brain?
well, I was thinking about it a bit, so I think I was in control of it a bit more.
So, and what have you come up with?
Just if you want to stay at the start line, do.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying, if you're into, I wouldn't watch a race, right?
Okay,
But
is this you or your brain I'm talking to now?
this is me.
Okay.
I wouldn't watch.
Are you gonna bring the brain into it, or is it, there's no...
I don't know, let's just see what happens.
Okay.
But all I'm saying is,
Right.
if I was to watch a race,
Yeah.
I wouldn't hang about the start line, because...
Well, you just said you would.
What, did I?
Yeah, you said that's the place to start, because every race starts with a step.
No, but I wouldn't normally.
Right,
I
okay.
won't watch any
The
race.
brain definitely hasn't been used
No,
yet.
is this you or your brain you're talking about now? It was...
I'm just saying about me, if I was on holiday,
Yeah,
and Suzanne said there's a race going on down the road,
yeah.
I'd go, well, let's go, keep going down the road and stand at the finish line.
Okay, but now what have
according
you
to
thought?
Lazoo,
Yeah.
I'd say, well, hang on a minute, every race starts with a single step.
Yeah.
How many people around the start line? Is there more room there? She goes, yeah. I'll go, let's go there then, it's less busy.
Right, and what would you see there then?
I'd see people starting the race, but I wouldn't be that impressed with them, because I'd go, well, I don't know if any of these are any good.
So would you start at the start or the end then?
If it was down to me, I'd just probably stay at the finish line.
Okay, so you wouldn't want to see the first step then? So what
Not
do you think of
really.
Lazoo now then?
It's not what, but I wrote down 3 of his. That one isn't my favourite. That was the 3rd. I preferred the leading people from behind.
Okay, and what would you do to lead someone now then?
Well, if you're behind, you don't have to take responsibility, do you? You can go, well, I didn't send you here. You went there.
That's not really leading them, though, is it?
Yeah, because I've made them think. I've gone. They go, oh, I've just walked into a big hole. I'd go, oh, Should have been looking where you're going. I haven't led them in that hole, but they've learnt a lesson. They won't go in a hole again.
We went to the park and had a brew. Suzanne read the paper while I played with a ladybird. I mean, it's like a child, isn't it? It's like what a child would do.
Suzanne read the paper while I played with the ladybird. His only friend is a beetle.
It climbed up my arm. It struggled on me hairs.
This is in detail, then.
Yeah. It kept stopping every now and then, and was rubbing its head with its right arm. It did it about 4 times, and always used its right arm. It rested for about 5 minutes, then flew off. Sunday. Had a bit of a to-do with Suzanne, because she wanted a line today. I ate this. Once you're awake, you should get up. I got up and put the radio on really loud. She eventually got up. I told her insects don't have lines, so we shouldn't.
Why are you obsessed with insects?
You must be fucking unbearable to live with. You must be a nightmare.
No, I've just started, because I've watched insects a lot. I don't want to keep going on about them, because we're a bit insect heavy. But at the end of the day, if we copied insects, we wouldn't go far wrong.
I don't know what you mean, though. 1 minute you're saying they're great, then the next minute you'll slag them off.
Yeah, I'll slag some of them off if I don't know what they're doing, but because I've studied them a bit longer, I just think they do it
You haven't
right.
studied them, though.
He thinks he's like Darwin.
But you just slagged them off again. Don't you think that insects are doing stuff? They're not. It goes there, then it goes back again.
The ant was messing about, but only that one. The others were carrying stuff. That's what I'm saying. There's snidey ones in everything. In everything in the world, you get a hierarchy.
Oh, long words!
Ooh. The bookshelf was dusty, so Suzanne asked me to dust it if I get a minute. I ended up looking at every book.
Just the spine.
Yeah.
Just for a few seconds each. Yeah. Didn't open them.
I looked in the dictionary to see if the word dictionary would be in the dictionary. I didn't think they would bother with it being on the front page, but it was in the book as well.
It's a good point, though, isn't it?
No, it's not a good point, because you didn't tell us anything.
Dictionary is in the dictionary.
Well, of course it is.
Well, why? If you go, how do you spell dictionary, you look at the spine and you go, oh, there it is, D-I-C-C, and all that.
So what does dictionary mean?
It's a book full of words, isn't it?
That's what it means. All books are full of words, you idiot.
How to spell them. And if you don't know
No,
what
it's
it
not
is...
how to spell them.
All right, then we'll...
I'll just look up something. No. It's not a book full of words to tell us what... No. It's the meaning.
Give us
It's
the definition of
definitive
dictionary.
meaning.
It's a book full of words if you want to know what the meanings are. But if you didn't know
Well,
that...
sorry, what was that sentence?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you didn't know that, then you wouldn't be looking in it, because you wouldn't know the book is about that. So, if you don't know the word dictionary and what it means, you wouldn't be looking at the dictionary, you'd be looking at an A to Z. Because you go,
Why
oh,
leave
there's
it out,
letters.
though?
Just because there's so many words in the world, I would have thought they wanted to cram as much as they can on a page, and if dictionary is already on the front...
Is that why you suddenly used the word hierarchy for the first time ever? Did you find that in there?
Did you see hierarchy in the dictionary?
I feel
I don't know
that
where
that
that
big
was.
word has pushed out about 26 other more useful ones.
Yeah, well, Suzanne's been going on about me learning another language. But I sort of think your brain has only got so much room on it.
And the rest of it's filled with lard.
So, if I've got to learn everything I know, again, but in a different language, it's taking up space, isn't it?
You don't learn everything. Oh, God.
It's all
What do you mean?
storage, isn't it?
But you don't have to learn it again. You don't have to learn the concepts again. You're merely
Do you know how
learning
many
vocabulary.
moves there are in the human brain? You don't worry, you won't use them all up.
I feel that he has reached his capacity.